Okay, so we're going to take a look at lighting in this video. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit and just adjust the view here because I want to introduce lights, but you want to be able to see the lights already. So by default, you have a default light that's lighting the scene right now inside of Cinema 4D. But once you introduce a light into your scene, that light is going to be replaced. And up here on the top in the 3D objects area, so there are all these light options. So we have a basic light, which is kind of like a light bulb, target lights, infinite lights, spotlight, area light, and sunlight. So you can choose from a variety of different choices here. And then you can even animate lights. So what I'm going to do is just going to add a typical light, and notice that that's get added right to the center. So I'm going to pull this up and away, and you can see what that light is doing to my models. I'm just going to pull this up and over here. And then in the attributes manager, you'll see that the type of light right now is set as an Omni Light. So an Omni Light will just be like a light bulb. It'll just spread its light everywhere. So I can change that to a spotlight, and notice that I get this cone, and that cone shows me where that spotlight is pointing to. An infinite light, and then you have an area light, kind of like a flat light. Think of like a photo studio setup. I'm going to switch this back to an Omni Light. Notice that the light gets added to the Objects Manager. What I'm going to do with this light is I'm going to hold down the Command key, and I'm going to click and drag it to create another light in the scene, another Omni Light. I'm just going to pull it up here. Notice that this is kind of washing out the scene, so the intensity of the lights is something that needs to be controlled. There's fall off, there's distance, there's a bunch of different options for how the light is going to affect the models in your scene. Some shadowing. Right now we have no shadows, but we can turn on the shadows. And here's the intensity slider. I'm just going to drag that down a little bit to return some of the values in the models themselves. So as I orbit around the scene, you can see where I place the lights, and that's lighting up those objects pretty well. If we introduce more lights than that, it kind of could get messy, so you want to be careful of that. And also the light color right now is solid white, which is okay in some circumstances, but if you really examine a light bulb, it's a warm color. So usually this will have more of a kind of like a golden hue, but not really this strong. So maybe something like 245, 245, 245, kind of a grayish color. But we want to introduce a little bit of yellow to give it some warmth. And then click OK on that. So that's lighting in Cinema 4D, and you can add as many lights as you want, and those lights can be animated, and all these properties of the lights can be animated as well. So if you want to, you can animate the intensity property, let's say, and really dial down a light and then dial it back up to give it that sense that the light is turning on. You can animate shadow properties, and really, there's a lot that you can do with lights in a scene.